Good evening. StabtheDragon here. It's Saturday, November 20th, 2021. The day after Kyle Rittenhouse's trial has concluded with not guilty on all charges. In order to celebrate, last night I opened this bottle of Rittenhouse Rye. Now there's absolutely no connection between Kyle Rittenhouse and this whiskey other than the name. The Rittenhouse Rye I purchased several months ago in anticipation of this evening, or yesterday evening, the conclusion of the trial. So I did open it, and I can say that it is indeed a very delicious rye whiskey. It's bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof, 4 years old, coming out of Heaven Hill Distillery. And it's a very good low-end, as far as price goes, rye. I mean, that's a $25 to $30 bottle, and so that's a good price. It's a low rye. I think it's a 51% rye mash bill. So it's got its own real spicy character. Very much a cinnamon type whiskey. It's a lot of tingling and spices going on from front to back. So really, it's a very nice whiskey. But I'm not here to do a whiskey review. That just happens to be a special occasion kind of a whiskey because of the name. I'm here to talk about the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, the situation there, and what we can expect to see going forward. Kyle Rittenhouse, last year when he was 17, in August of 2020, got involved in the Kenosha riots. He was helping some friends out, protecting some property there, car lot. He's an EMT, or has had EMT training, and so he had his first aid kit there with him. But he also had an AR-15 rifle for protection. The rifle itself was legal. He was allowed to carry it. He was too young to carry a pistol, and yet the law allows him to carry that rifle. So everything about that was legal. The riots, well, there had been the George Floyd BLM riots going on since May, but this particular riot in Kenosha was over the shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man that the police there in Kenosha shot because he had resisted arrest. He had fought with the police officers. They had tased him to no effect. He was grabbing a knife, and so they shot him. He was not killed, despite a lot of the reports that are out there saying that he was killed. No, he's alive. He's crippled from his being shot. He was there because he was trespassing, and his girlfriend had a restraining order on him and called the police when he violated that, and so the police showed up. And he's got prior convictions, felony as well. So everything about that was bad, and yet the left typically celebrates situations like that. So during these riots in Kenosha, Kyle Rittenhouse, there was a dumpster set on fire, and then was rolling towards a gas station. Kyle grabbed a fire extinguisher, put the fire out, and that got a lot of the rioters upset with Kyle. And so later on, when he was trying to get to his car, he was separated from his group. He was attacked. And so as a result of this attack, the first attack was by Joseph Rosenbaum, and tried to take his rifle from him. Rosenbaum was a convicted sex offender who had raped children. Kyle ended up having to shoot him, else he would have taken his rifle away. And so that was clearly self-defense. And then shortly after that, Anthony Huber, a skateboarder, also attacked Kyle with the skateboard, conking him on the shoulder, tried to aim for his head. And, a skateboard being slung at your head can cause serious injury or even death. I read just this last week of a death caused by somebody being attacked by a skateboard. So, if you have the threat of serious bodily injury or death, you can use self-defense. And so that's what happened. And so he shot Anthony Huber and killed him. Well, then after that, Gage Grosskreutz, also a convicted felon. And so all three of these guys were convicted felons who attacked Rittenhouse. He was armed with a pistol, which that was illegal because he's a convicted felon. He's not supposed to have a pistol. And so he pointed the pistol at Kyle. I watched that on the trial. I watched the playback of that, and the question was very specific. And he admitted, yeah, he pointed his pistol at Kyle. Then he got shot. So he was wounded in the arm. Rittenhouse then turned himself into the police, and he was charged with 5 felonies and 1 misdemeanor. He was arrested, spent a few months, I think 3 months in jail, before he posted a $2 million bond to be out on bail. Those of us who watched these videos of the shootings and watched the testimony at the trial, we knew that this was classic self-defense, that there's no way he was guilty of the charges. And eventually the jury, after several days of deliberation, agreed with that and said that he was not guilty on all counts. But really, I think the Kenosha police were in the wrong for having arrested him to begin with. And I don't understand the grand jury charging him like that. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on there, and we saw that in the trial with the DA trying to do several things, and the judge caught him on several issues and rebuked them repeatedly. So, it just seems like the prosecutors, the mayor of Kenosha, the police of Kenosha, all kinds of things were wrong there. Kyle was within his right to do what he did. Now, that doesn't mean that he rejoiced in that. No, he was obviously shooken up about this. I mean, this is a life-changing event, and nobody wishes that any of this had happened. Well, what comes next? First of all, last night, I saw the news this morning, there were riots again. Multiple towns, multiple cities across the country, from the left coast to the northeast and the Midwest. Riots over the jury giving a not guilty verdict. So there's all kinds of riots already happening about this. So what can we expect? I would expect Kyle's going to have to sue the mainstream media, because the mainstream media has consistently told lies about Kyle. And even though the facts were out there, if the facts are out there, I mean, the video is clear enough, and then the trial, and yet the media keeps repeating the lies, then that shows intent to cause harm. It's not that they were misinformed, it's that they deliberately spread lies. And I think that's actionable. I mean, even the President of the United States has joined in on that, and politicians in Congress and whatnot. So the second thing is I would expect the Biden Department of Justice to actually try to prosecute Kyle for some kind of hate crime or race crime or something. I mean, the 3 felons that he shot were all white, just like Kyle is. And so you can't get him on that, but they were protesting the shooting of a black man. And so I guess there's racial intent there. I don't know. But yeah, I would not be surprised if the Department of Justice seeks to prosecute Kyle. Expect the violence of the left to increase. Expect others then who are being attacked by the left to defend themselves. This trial is a key important trial, because it makes a loud statement that, hey, if you are involved in one of these riots and your life is threatened, you can legally defend yourself, which is common sense anyway. And so I think this is going to be a motivator for the left to protest more and to be more violent, and it's going to be a motivator for decent Americans to say, hey, I'm going to defend myself. I'm not going to be a victim here. So yeah, I would expect the violence to increase. I would expect also the left to continue to lie about those who do choose to defend themselves. Kyle was branded a vigilante. He was branded a white supremacist. He was branded as a militia member. And he wasn't any of that. Uh, he was just a decent kid who had served as a police cadet, a fire cadet, a lifeguard. He was in EMT training. He's working in college, trying to become a nurse. He's an all-American kid. Uh, and so if you defend yourself and are white, be ready to be hated, to receive vitriol from the left, to be libeled, to be slandered. That's just going to increase. Now, what does all this say about our country? The left, Democrats, BLM, Antifa, has a tendency to support and defend felons, sex offenders, arsonists, rioters, perverts. In this incident with Kyle in Kenosha, these three felons who attacked a young man with a clear record and reputation were all proven guilty in court of felonies. And yet they're considered by the media to be the good guys here. He defended himself, and he's the one being prosecuted. So after the trial, when overwhelming evidence has been made public and the jury, under grave threat and danger, decided to do the right thing here, the left, from the president of the United States on down, still hates on Kyle. Despite all the evidence, and the evidence is out there, the left has always been pro-criminal. They redefine good and evil. They call good evil and evil good. Isaiah chapter 5, verses 20 and 23 say, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter, who acquit the guilty for a bribe and deprive the innocent of their rights. The left tramples on the Constitution. They hate the Constitution. And the reason for the riots over the past 13 years, you could go back further, beyond Obama, you go back to George W. Bush. The left has been steadily trying to destroy America, destroy the West, destroy the Constitution, because it's in their way. The left has a totally different agenda from historic America, and they want to establish a new society based upon their morals, their understanding of the world. And so the Constitution is like a big roadblock. Now, the left, for the last 100 years, has been finding ways to get around, over, under, and through the Constitution to do what they want. And conservatives on the right keep compromising with the left. They ignore the damage that's being done to the Constitution. And so we're, slowly moving, now rapidly moving leftward here. The left, the Dems are, they restrict the police from enforcing laws. They elect district attorneys who are not going to prosecute crimes. They have mayors and city councils in these big cities who enact policies and restrict the police that allow crime to spread and allow these riots to happen without any repercussions, hardly at all. The left destroys our military, not just through a reduced military budget, but through, like currently, you've got this vaccine mandate from Biden, and so many soldiers, sailors, Marines are opting out of the military over this, being forced out, actually. I've actually spoken with some of these guys. I've got military in my family, and so I've spoken with some of them and see what this is causing. And so the military is being weakened currently by policies from the left. The riots are planned, they're funded. If you ever pay attention to these riots and read some of the backstory, some of these, I've seen the advertisements where they seek to hire. There are people who are hired. Their job is to do riots, and they are transported by chartered buses to places where the riots are to happen. You've got pre-printed signs. You've got people like the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, who raised funds, contributed funds to get the rioters who were caught and arrested out of jail, post their bonds, pay their legal fees, things like this. So the rioting is big business in America, and it's run by the left. So the average citizen, the average Christian, pastors, conservatives, we need to understand that this move towards communism, away from the Constitution, away from the Bible, these attacks on traditional history of America that go back for 100 years, this is not new. And so we are steadily losing. And in the last 20 years, we are losing rapidly. Okay, and so I think that we have probably already gone over the cliff, right? And so what's going to happen is a crash. The economic policies of the Biden administration are deliberately bringing about an economic crash that's going to affect everybody. And the border situation, where the left is encouraging the hundreds of thousands, the millions of people to migrate across the border and break our system, right? So everything that the left is doing is designed to fundamentally change, to quote Obama, this country and bring about a new society that's fundamentally communist. So, that's where we are. And the Kyle Rittenhouse trial is one victory. It's an important victory, but it's small but important. One victory along the way for the good guys. One victory for those who stand for truth, justice, and the American way. So what can be done? Uh, Fundamentally, the only hope for our country is a massive, great awakening, a turning to Christ, a return to the Bible, and genuine repentance, where hearts are changed, where enough people across this country are born again and are following Jesus to affect our institutions. That you can strive for political change, and we should. Okay, political change is great. We can try to slow it down, but that's just a small piece of the whole. You see, politics and morals come from the character of a country, and the character is formed primarily from their religious beliefs. And so, if our religious beliefs are waning, if our religious beliefs are wrong and weak, then our character is going to be weak, our morals are going to be weak, our politics and arts and education are going to be weak. And so unless there is a turning to Jesus, things are not going to get any better soon. So I would say pray for revival, seek the Spirit, read the Word of God, really try to pursue Christ and affect our culture that way without quitting the political realm, without quitting the military realm or law enforcement realm or education or the arts. We can do multiple things at once. But the truly important way to bring about change is to follow Christ. Well, this is StabtheDragon, out for now. Thank God for Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank God for that courageous jury and that judge and those lawyers.